the land where civilization began. There's a place on Earth where human history first learned to write its name, a land that once shaped empires, faith, and knowledge itself. That land is Iraq, the birthplace of some of humanity's greatest civilizations, and one of the most sacred places in the Islamic world. For thousands of years, this region has been more than just soil and sand. It's where the ancient Sumerians built the earliest cities, where the Babylonians raised the Tower of Babel, and where the first laws of humankind were carved in stone. Iraq isn't just old, it's eternal, a living museum of our collective human journey. Modern Iraq, officially known as the Republic of Iraq, is located in Western Asia, bordered by Turkey to the north, Iran to the east, Kuwait and Saudi Arabia to the south, and Jordan and Syria to the west. Though mostly landlocked, Iraq reaches the Persian Gulf through a narrow coastal strip near Al-Faw. The country covers more than 438,000 square kilometers, making it the 18th largest nation in the world. Its official languages are Arabic and Kurdish, but you'll also hear Turkish, Persian, and even English in the busy streets of Baghdad. Iraq's population today stands at roughly 43 million people, and at its heart lies Baghdad, the capital, the soul, and once the crown jewel of the Arab world. Founded in the 8th century during the Abbasid Caliphate, Baghdad quickly became one of history's greatest centers of learning and trade. Scholars from across continents gathered here to study mathematics, astronomy, and medicine. The city's libraries were so vast they were said to contain the wisdom of the entire known world. But Baghdad's beauty has always carried a shadow. It was nearly destroyed in 1258 by Mongol invaders, and again centuries later during America's war in 2003. Each time, the city rebuilt, scarred but unbroken, carrying within its ruins the echoes of golden ages past. Today, Iraq stands as a reminder of how greatness can rise, fall, and rise again. Its people have endured empire after empire, yet their spirit remains unshaken, proud, poetic, and deeply rooted in faith. But how did this ancient cradle of civilization transform into a land of endless wars and shifting powers? We'll uncover Iraq's turbulent history, from ancient kings to the rise and fall of its modern lion, Saddam Hussein. To understand modern Iraq, we must journey through the sands of time, from the first sparks of civilization to the chaos of empires. Long before oil and politics defined this land, it was known as Mesopotamia, meaning the land between two rivers, the Tigris and Euphrates. These rivers didn't just feed the soil, they fed the soul of humanity. Here, the wheel was invented. Here, people first divided time into hours, minutes, and seconds. The idea of writing itself, cuneiform, was born in this very cradle. Empires rose and fell across Iraq's fertile plains, the Sumerians, Akkadians, Babylonians, Assyrians, each leaving behind their temples, legends, and wisdom. Babylon became a name whispered through eternity, with its hanging gardens, grand ziggurats, and King Hammurabi's code, one of the earliest systems of law. Then came the Great Islamic Era. In the 7th century, armies under Khalid ibn al-Walid and Caliph Umar ibn al-Khattab brought Islam to Iraq. By 750 AD, the Abbasid Caliphate established Baghdad as the beating heart of the Muslim world, a city of light, knowledge, and faith. Scientists, poets, and philosophers flourished, making Baghdad the city of peace. But peace in Iraq has always been a fragile dream. In 1258, Mongol invaders swept through Baghdad, burning its libraries and drowning its heritage in blood. Centuries later, the Ottoman Empire would rule Iraq for nearly 400 years, leaving its own mark before World War I brought yet another foreign hand, Britain. After the collapse of the Ottoman rule, the British installed King Faisal I in 1921, and Iraq became a monarchy under heavy Western influence. The dream of independence lingered, but unrest brewed beneath the surface. By the mid-20th century, military coups began reshaping Iraq's destiny. One leader fell, another rose, and the stage was quietly being set for the man who would dominate Iraq's modern history, Saddam Hussein. His rise would turn Iraq into both a symbol of Arab pride and a center of global controversy. Who was Saddam Hussein, the man some called a hero and others a dictator? We'll uncover his rise to power, his wars, and how his rule forever changed Iraq's place in the world. When Saddam Hussein stepped into power in 1979, Iraq was a nation standing at the crossroads of hope and hardship. Born in a small village near Tikrit, Saddam rose from poverty through sheer ambition and ruthless determination. He was a man who believed Iraq was destined for greatness, and that he alone could lead it there. Under his rule, Iraq transformed rapidly. Roads, schools, hospitals, and grand monuments were built. Oil revenues turned Baghdad into one of the most advanced cities in the Arab world. For a time, Iraq appeared strong, proud, and independent, a regional power capable of standing up to the West and its rivals alike. But Saddam's vision came with a cost. His government ruled with an iron fist, and dissent was crushed without mercy. Fear became the language of politics. Still, many Iraqis saw in him a symbol of Arab resistance, especially against Western dominance and regional enemies. Then came the First Great War. In 1980, Saddam launched a full-scale invasion of Iran, beginning an 8-year conflict that would claim over 1 million lives. It was one of the bloodiest wars of the 20th century, a brutal struggle that drained both nations and left Iraq deeply wounded. Just 3 years later, another tragedy struck. In 1981, Israeli warplanes bombed Iraq's Osirak nuclear reactor near Baghdad, claiming it was developing weapons of mass destruction. The attack set Iraq's nuclear ambitions back for decades and fueled Saddam's growing distrust of the outside world. By 1990, with Iraq's economy shattered and debt soaring, Saddam made a fateful move. He invaded Kuwait. The world watched in shock as Iraq's army stormed across the border, claiming Kuwait as its 19th province. What followed was a swift and devastating response, Operation Desert Storm. Led by the United States and Britain, coalition forces unleashed a massive bombing campaign that crushed Iraq's military might within weeks. Humiliated but defiant, Saddam remained in power, a wounded lion surrounded by enemies. But the years ahead would only bring more pain. Economic sanctions, internal uprisings, and the growing presence of American forces turned Iraq into a battlefield of power and pride. But how did Saddam's final chapter unfold? From the world's most feared leader to a man hunted in his own country. We'll follow the shocking end of Saddam Hussein, and how his death left Iraq forever changed. By the dawn of the 21st century, Iraq was standing on a knife's edge. Years of war, sanctions, and political isolation had turned a proud nation into a land of ruins. The people were weary, the economy shattered, and Saddam Hussein's once unshakable power began to crumble under global pressure. Then came 2003, the year everything changed forever. The United States, backed by Britain and its allies, accused Iraq of harboring weapons of mass destruction. Despite denials and inspections, the decision had already been made. In March 2003, the world watched as American missiles lit up Baghdad's sky, a spectacle of destruction broadcast live to millions. It was called shock and awe. Within weeks, Saddam's government collapsed. The regime that had ruled Iraq for more than 2 decades was gone. But victory didn't bring peace. It opened the gates to chaos. Looting spread through Baghdad's streets, ancient museums and libraries were ransacked, and law vanished overnight. America's promise of democracy quickly turned into occupation and uncertainty. Iraq's infrastructure was in ruins, its military dismantled, and sectarian violence began tearing apart the very fabric of society. Saddam Hussein, once feared across the Middle East, vanished into the desert. For months, he was a ghost, hunted by the most powerful military on Earth. Then, on December 13, 2003, American soldiers discovered him hiding in a small underground bunker near his hometown of Tikrit. Disheveled, tired, but still defiant, Saddam was captured without a single bullet fired. His trial that followed was one of the most televised in modern history, a spectacle of vengeance wrapped in the language of justice. On December 30th, 2006, Saddam Hussein, at the age of 69, was executed by hanging. His final words were said to be a prayer for Iraq and defiance toward his enemies. The man who once defied the West and ruled with iron will meet his end in a dark, lonely room, filmed, condemned, and silenced forever. But Saddam's death did not bring the peace many hoped for. Instead, it left a power vacuum that plunged Iraq into sectarian violence, insurgency, and years of instability. The Lion of Baghdad was gone, but his shadow lingered across every street, every home, every scarred heart of Iraq. So what became of Iraq after the fall? Did the promise of freedom ever arrive, or did a new struggle begin? We'll uncover the story of modern Iraq, its people, its pain, and its fight to rebuild from the ashes. After Saddam Hussein's fall, Iraq stood at a crossroads once again, between rebuilding its identity and surviving the chaos left behind. The U.S. occupation had officially ended, but the war's echoes still lingered in every home, every street, and every heart that had lived through the fire. Years of conflict had shattered the nation's economy. Infrastructure lay in ruins, unemployment soared, and millions were displaced. Streets that once carried the rhythm of daily life now bore the silence of loss. Yet somehow, amid all the destruction, the Iraqi spirit refused to die. Today, Iraq remains a land of paradoxes, rich in oil, poor in peace. The country holds the fourth largest oil reserves in the world, yet over 70% of its people live in poverty. The very resource that could lift Iraq has often been the source of its turmoil, fueling political corruption and foreign interference. Still, Iraqis continue to adapt, working tirelessly to restore the dignity their land once had. Baghdad, though scarred, breathes again. Cafes have reopened, markets are alive, and the city's young generation, born amid war, dreams of a better tomorrow. Iraq's cities like Karbala and Najaf still draw millions of pilgrims each year, who come seeking peace in places touched by faith and sacrifice. The shrines of Imam Hussein and Hazrat Abbas stand as luminous symbols of hope, reminding the world that even in suffering, belief endures. But life in modern Iraq is far from simple. Electricity shortages, corruption, and security threats remain daily realities. Despite this, the people of Iraq celebrate life with unshakable energy. Weddings are loud, streets glow with music, and art continues to bloom from the same soil that once saw destruction. There's defiance in their laughter, a message to the world that Iraq will never surrender its soul. Culturally, the nation remains deeply proud. Iraq gave humanity its first wheel, its first written word, and its first laws. Even now, it continues to gift the world poetry, history, and wisdom carved from centuries of struggle. Iraq's story is not one of defeat, it's one of survival. A testament to what it means to rise again, no matter how many times you fall. And though the scars of war remain visible, a new generation of Iraqis is beginning to write a different story, one not defined by bombs or borders, but by dreams. Iraq's journey reminds us that civilizations may crumble, leaders may fall, but the human spirit, like the Tigris and Euphrates, always finds a way to flow again.